What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League with a triple buffed full Flabebe evolution line, as both Flabebe and Floet have access to Dazzling Gleam, and Florages of course gained access to Trailblaze this season. Now I'll be honest, this is absolutely the most frustrating team I've tried to run all season, and it felt like I'd have entire sets where every lead was either a poison or a fire type that would just double shield and completely destroy the entire team, and it's made even worse with Skeleturge now having access to Torch Song, a fairly low energy charge move that boosts up his attack with every use. But I kept at it, and you will see some of the most impressive wins that I've managed this season so far, as well as some heartbreakingly close losses. But with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. Are there any other evolution lines that got buffed this season that you'd like to see me showcase on the channel? Now, it doesn't matter if not all 3 Pokemon got buffed, but let me know in the comment section down below. And with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, leading Florages into Jellicent. So actually not that bad of a matchup for me, but I'm going to say swap into my Floet because I've got Vine with fast move pressure. The opponent responds with a Clodsire, not ideal, but this is where having Psychic for coverage is quite helpful. It does connect, it does super effective damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't do much damage, but it is something. We are going to shield, and the opponent is on Sludge Bomb, so they will make it to another charge move fairly quickly, but I'm able to reach a second Psychic, grab a shield, and I'm able to drop their defense as well, which is going to be really beneficial for me in the long run because it might mean that I can come in with my Florages and take them out with a Trailblaze. But for now, I realize they've still got a lot of energy. Gonna no-shield the Sludge Bomb. We're able to hang on there, and I can reach a Psychic just before they're able to Poison Sting farm me down. Of course, Psychic is going to grab the final shield, the opponent recognizing I am incredibly weak to the Clodsire. So of course, I'm gonna shield this as they go for another Sludge Bomb. We are at the Trailblaze. We're throwing it immediately here. I need to get rid of the Clodsire. Trailblaze gets the KO. We boost up our attack, and the opponent comes in with a Malamar, and that is absolutely huge for me because I realize I don't need to throw immediately. Everything they throw is going to be resisted. I can farm up to over back-to-back charge moves, fire off Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice gets the KO there, and Hex, whilst it did get a slight buff to the damage this season, they're not going to be able to farm me down. We go for Trailblaze, boost up the attack. We then swap. We're able to catch the Surf onto my 1 HP Flabebe. We can now come back in with the Florages, fire off a second Trailblaze, and of course, from this range, Trailblaze gets the KO up against the Jellicent, and I'm able to take that game. So GG stuff went there into next battle, and this is kind of a more accurate representation of how these battles went. We lead into a Skeleturge. You will see some battles I led with the Floet, some battles I led with the Florages. Either way, not really good for us, and they shield the Psychic as well. We don't get a debuff. I'm just going to no-shield the first charge move. Torch Song is going to boost up their attack there. You can see I did actually want to swap out immediately there, but for some reason it didn't go through. So now we're going to come in with the Florages, and at this point I'm recognizing they're probably just going to double shield. So I'm going to go for a Trailblaze here, expecting the shield, and this will boost up my attack. Trailblaze is shielded. Of course, both moves are resisted, but now we can at least hit for a boosted Disarming Voice, and I'm hoping that might put them into farm down range for one of my 2 Pokemon in the bag. But let's see, Disarming Voice does connect, and it does some decent damage. But still, I don't know if I can actually farm them down here. We're going to come in with the Floet. If the opponent tries to farm me down here, I might have reached a Psychic. So instead, they throw immediately. They go for Torch Song once again, boosting up the attack. And Flabebe not even able to get that Vine Whip farm down. We get fully 1v3 swept by a single Skeleturge. And we do, very embarrassingly, lose that game. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see a Grumpig in the lead. So we're going to stay in this matchup here. The opponent is going to be able to, well, they have to go for a Shadow Ball here. Of course, Dynamic Punch is resisted. We're going to go straight for Dazzling Gleam, grab a shield from the opponent, throwing on CMP. At this point, I'm going to swap into my Florages because I can outpace them to the next charge move, but they actually come in with a Lapras. Now, this is not too bad for me, of course. Trailblaze, I'm going to boost up my attack. The first one doesn't really do too much damage, but each time we throw it, we're going to deal more damage with that Trailblaze. I'm going to shield this. I'm now going to overfarm ever so slightly, going over by 1 Fairy Wind, firing off the Trailblaze, and Trailblaze will be no-shielded by the Lapras as they come in with a Shadow Swampert, and of course Trailblaze are going to hit for double super effective damage. We're already double boosted. This will easily get the one shot, so the opponent forced to use their final shield. I expect the opponent to swap out of this matchup back into the Grumpig, and they do exactly that, but we are already triple boosted. We can now go for Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice gets the one shot. They come back in with the Swampert. I'm able to outpace them, and Flourish is going on an absolute rampage in this battle. Trailblaze gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's to opponent there. I will mention that I initially started with Florges in the lead, and I realized that actually Florges is going to be the best sweeper for the team. So, even though having Floette and Flabebe, basically the exact same Pokemon in the back, kind of makes sense in terms of like an ABB style team, it doesn't really matter. They're basically all the same Pokemon anyway, so eventually I did swap it out for Floette in the lead. But either way, we're going to stay in this matchup, and I get damage registration error there. That is huge for me. That means I can grab both shields from the Wigglytuff. However, they do have a lot of energy, so we're going to come in with Flabebe. Most of the time, I did just use Flabebe as a damage sponge. It's basically the same thing. What the hell? The same thing as Floette. However, it does have a lower stat product. They go for a Swift. We're now going to go and see, well, the opponent comes in with a Lapras, so I'm going to overfarm here. The opponent throws immediately, and that gives me a full Vine Whip in for free. They go for Sparkling Aria here. I'm going to farm up to very close to back-to-back charge moves. Go for the Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam does big damage, and at this point, we've got another Dazzling Gleam loaded. So what we're actually going to do here, I realize my switch clock is now coming up. I'm going to go for the farm down, bank the energy, come out with another Dazzling Gleam loaded, and the opponent is going to come in with and Altaria, but they swap back into Wigglytuff. Now, this actually doesn't really matter too much because Altaria has 0 fast move pressure. We can reach another Dazzling Gleam, and this game should be well and truly wrapped up. We've got the Dazzling Gleam loaded on my Floette. All we have to do is make sure we click on the right charge move, and we don't. Oh my god, that is so annoying. I couldn't remember which side it was on, and I knew Altaria was close to a charge move, and I panicked. I clicked on the left one. I mean, on my Flabebe, in all fairness, my Dazzling Gleam is on the left side, but on Floette, it's on the right, and man, that is just so frustrating. But GG's to that opponent there. Of course, if I'd have used the team a little bit more there, I probably would have just remembered which side it was on, and that mistake wouldn't happen. But either way, into next battle, and the opponent's going to say swap into Drapion. Now, we do not have an answer to Drapion, but I'm able to land the Dazzling Gleam. I'm going to shield. They did actually farm up to a potential Sludge Bomb, so I respect the damage. This is just going to be another Arctotail, which doesn't do too much damage there. I'm now going to fire off a Trailblaze. I'm hoping this doesn't quite take them out, but it actually puts them into farm down range, and that is perfect for me. They come back in with the Emolga. We're boosted. Disarming Voice probably going to grab a shield from the opponent, and it does exactly that. But I'm going to swap Catch to Charge Move onto my Flabebe, as this is just going to be a discharge that doesn't do too much damage. They then come back in with the Gastrodon, and of course we're hitting for double super effective damage. Whilst we don't have really the stat product or even hitting for stab damage, these Vine Whips are still chunking. We reach a last second Dazzling Gleam there. Once again, damage registration error there, so very nice for us. We can come in with the Floette, get that farm down. They come back in with the Emolga, and we're going to fire off a charge move, but we end up losing CMP. So, going to shield this. The opponent baits with a discharge, which is unfortunate. So, at this point, I'm going to have to try and catch a charge move on my Florges. Dazzling Gleam grabs the final shield there. We're going to swap. We try to make the catch, but the opponent doesn't throw straight away, and as a result, we reach a Disarming Voice. That nearly gets the one shot, but the opponent, I believe, is at back-to-back discharges. First one gets the KO there, and can Floette live this charge move? It's going to be close, but we barely tank it. The Vine Whip damage registers. It takes out the Emolga, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there. Into the next battle, we see a Marowak, but they are actually on Fire Spin, so not going to be quite as fast to generate energy compared to the Hex variant, which did get buffed this season. We go for Psychic, and thankfully for me, the opponent does not shield that move. I'm going to no-shield. The opponent baits with a Bone Club, which is absolutely fine with me. At this point, it's probably going to be another Bone Club, which we're able to just barely survive. We swap into our Florges there, and I'm expecting to grab a shield at this point, so I'm going to go for a Trailblaze, and Trailblaze is actually no-shielded by the opponent, so Disarming Voice definitely would have been the right play there, but we have boosted our attack. The opponent goes for the Shadow Bone there, and can we get the Fairy Wood farm down? Yes, we're able to do so, but then they've got another Fire type in the back anyways. What the heck is this team? We're going for Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice going to be shielded by the opponent. We are boosted, but I mean, why are they shielding a resistant move? We go for another one, and they double shield, for God's sake. At this point, we're going to have to shield this just because I need to land a boosted Disarming Voice. But they've got a Venusaur, like what? Oh, this team had no chance, but either way, I'm just going to undercharge that, surrender the game, there's nothing we can do. But GG's to that opponent there. Into the next battle, we see a Clodsire in the lead, so not great, but we do have the Floette in the lead here, so we can go straight for Psychic, and hopefully the opponent isn't on Sludge Bomb. I feel like if they were, maybe they would have thrown straight away, but maybe they're just over farming, I don't know. At this point, I think I'm going to no-shield this. It is a Sludge Bomb, but I'm able to tank that. I'm going to swap into my Flabebe, Flabebe, and we're actually not going to tank it as comfortably this time around, so I will shield the Sludge Bomb, and now I'm going to overfarm just slightly, throw on the CMP tie. I'm hoping as well, if they shield this, that a Sludge Bomb will just take us out from this range. That's probably the best case scenario for me, and let's see, Sludge Bomb does take us out there, so they don't get any extra farm. Now, we're going to wait out the switch clock, come in with the Florages, and we are going to swap, try to catch the charge move. We actually swapped out one fast move too early, but doesn't matter. The opponent still doesn't hold on to the energy. They do end up firing a charge move. Looks like a little bit of lag there. I don't know if they actually missed any fast moves or not, but either way, we go for Trailblaze. We're going for a second Trailblaze, and we can finally get rid of this really annoying Clonsire. Trailblaze gets the KO there. They come in with a Jellicent, and this is looking pretty good for me. We are already double boosted. A Trailblaze still won't quite get the KO, so I hold on to the energy here. They come in with a Primeape, and I am double boosted. We go straight for Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam, oh sorry, Disarming Voice gets the one shot there. We're going for another Trailblaze. Trailblaze is now going to be triple boosted, but unfortunately they live with 1 HP and a Dream. If I threw my Trailblaze slightly sooner there and got off one extra boosted Fairy Wind, I could have won that game, but unfortunately, we don't win there. But GG's to that opponent. Into the next battle, we see Emolga in the lead once again, so we're going to go straight for a Disarming Voice here. Disarming Voice, going to hit for neutral damage. It does some decent damage there. The opponent, I'm going to shield this regardless of what they throw. It could be an Acrobatics. It is actually just a Discharge Bait, but that's okay. At this point, I can now go straight for Trailblaze just because they're in range where a resisted Trailblaze should get the KO, so now I can boost up my attack. Am I going to shield this? Yes, I am, and they full send the Acrobatics this time around. The opponent then swaps into a Wigglytuff, so not the best timing there to throw that charge move, but either way, we go for a boosted Disarming Voice, and the opponent no shield, so we're now going to swap out of that matchup, bank a little bit of energy on our Florages, and we're just barely able to outpace them to the Dazzling Gleam, grab a shield from the opponent, and at this one, I'm definitely, of course, gonna, well, I've got no shields anyway, so I don't know why I was saying that. I was going to say, oh, I'm definitely just going to no-shield that. We don't have any shields, so that's my only option. We can now come in with either Pokemon. I think I'll come in with a Flabebe, and they actually come in with a Furret, and of course, they are on Sucker Punch. So Sucker Punch is resisted damage. The opponent fires off the Swift there. I can reach a Dazzling Gleam, and I think I will swap straight away into my Florages. We do have some energy, and we are going to be able to reach a Disarming Voice up against the Furret, and this should be enough damage to get the KO there. The opponent is going to come back in with the Wigglytuff. They get farmed down, and they get farmed down on the Emolga too. Flourish is able to take them out there, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up in there into the next battle. See Flourishes into a Dugong. So, not too bad for me, of course. We've got Trailblaze. I'm expecting the opponent to just go straight Icy Wind in this matchup, which means I can boost up my attack. They will be debuffing me straight away, but that's okay. Gonna no-shield the first charge move. They go for the Icy Wind there, and I can now overfarm just slightly, firing off the charge move just before they reach a second Icy Wind. Trailblaze is going to be shielded by the opponent, but they overfarm. I don't throw on the best timing, but I just guarantee to grab both shields from the opponent. Now we're going to swap out of that matchup, and again, we're just sacrificing Flabebe here. Of course, they're going to debuff me with an Icy Wind, but that's okay. The opponent choosing to stay in there, and then eventually swapping into a Ferrothorn, and now at this point I'm thinking we've not really got much hope here. They're going to resist everything we can possibly throw, and as well, they are double resisting the Vine Whip damage. We're also debuffed, so like we just can't deal much damage here at all, but we're going to come in with the Flower, and of course, we do still have 2 shields, so that is something. I don't know how much use that's going to be for us if we can flip this matchup here, but either way, we're going to go a fire for Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam does some respectable damage. They swap back into Dugong. I realize Icy Wind going to do less damage than a Power Whip, and because they debuff me, we actually get more farm there, so that's pretty good for me. And then they come in with a Mana Buzz, so we have a slither of hope here. We're going for the Dazzling Gleam. I'm now going to overfarm just a little bit, and I realize the opponent, if they try to farm me down, we can reach a Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice gets the KO there. They do get a Bullet Seed farm down, so as well, not too much energy, but unfortunately, it's just going to come down to whether a Dazzling Gleam plus the Vine Whip damage can get the KO, as they will outpace me to back-to-back charge moves, and unfortunately, the Vine Whip's double resisted. That is a huge hindrance here, as they're able to reach a second Power Whip, and unfortunately, despite my best efforts, Power Whip takes out the Flower, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's up on there into the next battle. We see a Goodra in the lead, so a great lead matchup for me. The opponent's going to save swap into a Steelix, and back in the day, obviously, with Steelix usually running Dragon Tail, this would have been a pretty decent matchup for my entire team. But unfortunately, on Thunderfang, it's just not very good at all for us because, of course, Fairy Wind is resisted damage. I'm going to at least land a Trailblaze here before swapping out, and then I do, of course, have Vine Whip for neutral damage on both my two Pokemon in the back. So we're going to come in with the Floette. I'm going to no-shield the first Psychic Fangs there. I'm now going to overfarm. I probably should have thrown already, but I should still be able to live this. However, Psychic Fangs is going to put me into range where if the opponent does shield this, they can just go for a full Thunderfang farm down. They are desperate to take us out here and make sure they keep their Steelix alive, which is definitely not ideal for me. But we're going to come in with Flabebe, still not used a shield yet. However, they are absolutely loaded on energy, so eventually I will finally have to shield a Psychic Fangs here. So we're going to shield the final one. They won't reach another charge move, and we can see the Poke comes back in with the Goodra. So we're actually going to bank all of that energy, come in with our Florages here. Of course, these are going to be super effective Fairy Winds, so we are going to overfarm, farming two very close to back-to-back charge moves. Disarming Voice will be enough to take out the Goodra, and let's see, the opponent's going to come in with a Manda Buzz, and that is huge for me. We go straight for Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice just does slightly under half their HP, but again, they're committing to the farm down. Big mistake, as we can go for Disarming Voice number 2, take out the Manda Buzz. One more Fairy Wind takes out the Steelix, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there. Into the next battle, we see a Charge Bug in the lead. So, this is a neutral matchup for us. Unfortunately, because this Charge now is actually less energy, despite the fact that it is, of course, going to deal more, deal less damage here. Still, 2 discharges will take us out there. So, actually, having a cheaper discharge does help them out there as they do reach the charge move on the CMP tile. I didn't want to throw straight away just in case the opponent opts for the extra Volt Switch because, honestly, they could probably just farm me down at that point. So, we're going to go for Disarming Voice. The opponent is going to no-shield that before coming in with a Diggersby. So, I'm going straight for Trailblaze. Trailblaze is going to be shielded by the opponent, which is a bit unfortunate there because it's not going to do that much damage, but unfortunately, it will do more damage than my Dazzling Gleams on my Pokemon in the back. So we're going to no-shield the first charge move. Luckily for me, they don't debuff my attack there. We can go for a Dazzling Gleam, and the opponent going to double shield their Diggersby. Who even shields Diggersby anyways, man? What the heck is this? We're going to no-shield. They go for Scorching Sands. Unfortunately, that does get the KO. I was hoping maybe they'd bait me with a Fire Punch there, but unfortunately, that is not the case. We're going to come in with the Flabebe, and unfortunately, of course, Flabebe just doesn't really hit very hard here. So they go for Scorching Sands. Again, no debuff, though, so pretty fortunate there. We then swap into our Florages, and I realize I kind of need to shield this because I want to get off a Trailblaze. They actually swap into a Primeape, but this is okay. I can go for Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice puts them into perfect farm down range, but can we get the KO with the Disarming Voice and a few more Vine Whips? Dazzling Gleam, Dazzling Gleam, not Disarming Voice, doesn't quite put them into farm down range before they reach a Fire Punch, and of course Fire Punch takes out Flabebe, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's over there into the next battle. Dream lead for us, but they surely must have an answer to Fairy types in the back. So the opponent safe swaps into Galissapod here. Realistically, we don't need switch advantage, so it doesn't matter too much, but we're going to go for a Disarming Voice. Get them fairly low, then swap into my Flabebe. The opponent can go for an Aqua Jet, dealing big damage, and they will win CMP in this matchup. So I'm happy to shield this up there, then overfarm. I'm actually going to fire off a Psychic just because I'm hoping the opponent comes back in with the Guzzlord and maybe doesn't expect a Dazzling Gleam from us. So the opponent comes back in with the Guzzlord. We're going straight for Dazzling Gleam. Please, please, opponent, let this go through. But no, they do end up shielding. But that's okay. We come in with the Flourishes. They farmed up to a Sludge Bomb. I'm definitely going to respect it. And it is the Sludge Bomb, and the opponent comes in with their final Pokemon, a Claydol. So we go straight for Trailblaze. Trailblaze number 1 is no shield. It makes sense as we're boosting up our attack. We can go for Trailblaze number 2, and then I will swap eventually into my Flabebe. Actually, no, never mind. I can't swap out just yet, and the opponent does a perfect job of overfarming throwing just before we reach the next charge move. They go for Rock Tomb, but we can show our final Pokemon, a Flower, and the opponent just concedes the match there at the site of our Flower, and we're able to take that game. So, GG's up on there, into the next battle, we see Credilli in the lead. Now, Credilli is just so annoying to face this season. They're going to go straight for a Rock Tomb, most likely debuff my attack there. So, I'm actually going to just swap out, clear the debuff, but they will outpace me to a charge move on my Flower as well. So, we're not really ideal there. Of course, I could have gone for Disarming Voice, with my Florages straight away, but it's always risky there because we're not going to throw on the best timing. But either way, they come in with a Grumpig, and because we are debuffed, unfortunately, it looks like Grumpig will probably just barely hang on to both of these Dazzling Gleams and come out with a ton of energy as well. So definitely not ideal for me, but we are going to wait out the switch clock, come in with Flabebe. I'm hoping one more Vine Whip will get the farm down before they reach another charge move. They go for the Shadow Ball, and we're able to farm them down before they do get to a second move. They come in with more Peko, and I'm just hoping we can live a Psychic Fangs here. Psychic Fangs not going to do too much damage, but unfortunately it does actually get the KO there, and that might be a huge mistake on my end. But we're going to come in with Florages, we go straight for Disarming Voice, and the opponent no shields, which means maybe I could have actually overfarmed a little bit there, and you're going to see that overfarming would have been so beneficial for this matchup, because of course they're just going to continuously debuff me. I'm going to try to buff my attack here, but if they no shield a Trailblaze, honestly, it's not going to do too much damage here. So we go for Trailblaze, number 2, and they do no shield, which means I'm going to need to land another charge move, and it just depends, can we outpace them to back-to-back charge moves? It will be close, but you can see we are 2 away. I believe the opponent is 1 away from another Rock Tomb, and they are just barely able to outpace us by 1 turn. And of course, Grass Knot gets the KO there, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's top there into the final battle of this video, and again, another really annoying lead. However, Shadow Credilli slightly better for me just because we do at least do more damage against them because they are a Shadow Pokemon. They go for a Rock Tomb, we're going to swap out, and this time it will work for me because now I can outpace them to the Disarming Voice. Disarming Voice is going to be shielded by the opponent there. Probably should have just gone for a Trailblaze, but either way, doesn't really matter. We're going to shield as they go for a Rock Tomb, and we are going to now go for a Trailblaze this time around. I realize, regardless of what we throw, it won't get the KO anyways, so might as well boost up my attack this time around. The opponent gonna fire off another charge move. I can live this, so I'm gonna no shield this, and the opponent is going to stay in this matchup. We're gonna go for another Trailblaze here. Trailblaze gonna boost up my attack back to the regular attack stat. Doesn't really make a difference as they come in with Shadow for Alligator, farm me down immediately, but we're gonna go straight for the Dazzling Gleam, and we're probably gonna stay in this matchup actually. And let's see, the opponent is going to overfarm here just slightly, and I realize we actually will reach another Dazzling Gleam if we stay in, if they don't swap out, and they don't, so we can go for the Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam should be enough damage to get the KO there, and their final Pokemon is Annihilate, and this is really good for the Flabebe. We're able to reach a Dazzling Gleam, not the highest stat product, but Dazzling Gleam still gets the one-shot, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.